Well, somebody got paid. Yeah, that's right, folks. Somebody got paid. A while back, we discussed the war between creators and corporate America. And we had discussed on certain movies and TV series and comic books on how some of these creators and their estates are fighting back to get the products that they've created back from the corporate structure, as they are damaging it very heavily, depending on what product it is. And there was one group, and you saw, before we get into this, you saw what happened with the Friday the 13th saga that was going on. Now it's over, and you have a separation now of one writer has the rights to sort of like the characterization, Crystal Lake, of the original Friday the 13th, and the other half has the Jason and certain elements of it, but the hockey mask is not involved in that. It's a whole complicated thing. In other words, I don't think we're going to be, unless they come to an agreement, I don't expect to see any new Friday the 13th movies anytime soon, or any content that will revolve around that universe for that reason. The other half of this, and this is coming down from originally when Fox had this, and when they were sold, it was passed on to Disney. And you're familiar with the Predator movie, the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and that's been had several sequels, remakes, reboots, whatever the freak you want to call them. Because a lot of them have not been really good. I mean, there were like one or two in between that, hey, listen, it had some promise, but they didn't hit the mark. And it's the same thing with the Alien vs. Predator series as well. And it seems that they've settled their dispute. For how much? It's kept quiet on there. But we're going to read this is coming out of the Hollywood Reporter, and Winston Cho wrote this. The screenwriters behind the original 1987 movie and Disney 20th Century Fox have agreed to drop their dueling copyright lawsuits over the rights to the script in a confidential settlement. The screenwriters behind the original Predator movie and Disney's 20th Century Studios, which that's the combination of Fox and Disney now called, have agreed to a confidential settlement, dropping dueling copyright lawsuits over the rights to the scripts. The motion seeking dismissal of the litigation filed in California federal court Wednesday follows the notice filed on December 16th that the parties resolve claims regarding an attempt by the brothers John and James Thomas, who are the original creators of The Predator, to recapture their rights to the screenplay. Mark Toloff of Toloff and Associates, who represents the brothers, said all parties have voluntarily dismissal of their claims following an amicable resolution of the matters in dispute. He declined to comment on the details of the deal. The brothers wrote the screenplay back in 1984 and sold it 2 years later to 20th Century Fox, which released Predator in 1987. They sued the studio last year, alleging that it was wrong denial their bid to terminate their rights to the script. U.S. copyright allows authors to recapture their ownership rights after waiting a period of time, typically 35 years, for newer works by terminating the prior transfers. The brothers claim that the new Predator works would simply require a licensing from them, allowing them at long last to participate in the financial rewards of their creation. They emphasize they wrote the screenplays on spec with no guarantee of compensation or input from the studios. If a work is made for hire, the employer, in this case 20th Century, is considered the legal author according to the copyright law. Disney 20th Century filed its own lawsuit within hours of the brothers filing their complaint. The studio alleged after the copyright termination notice sought to prematurely cut off its rights. The action is necessary because the defendants improperly attempted to prematurely terminate the rights of the Hunter screenplay. At the very time, 20th Century was investing substantial time, money, and effort in developing another installment of its successful, not successful, Predator franchise red lawsuit. The litigation was fought as Disney forged ahead with plans for a reboot of Predator, which is looking lousy already, which spawned 3 sequels and spin-off movie series Alien vs. Predator. Studios have increasingly turned to the courts as Copyright Act's termination rules threatens to transfer ownership of iconic movies, including The Terminator, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Die Hard back to their original owners. Victor Miller, who wrote the screenplay to the original Friday the 13th, is set to reclaim, which has already happened, the rights to the franchise after the Federal Appeals Court affiliate win for him in the copyright dispute. And of course, Disney declined to comment. I've been saying this a long time. Those of you out there that are looking to get into working in the movie business, you want to sell your movie to Hollywood, I'm going to give you some bad news. Do not sell your movie to these companies. Do not. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose all your rights to this. And it's whether it's a movie, a TV series, a novel, a comic book, an animation, an anime, don't matter what you're doing, take the time. We have better resources now than we did years ago.
Your time has come. A storm is coming. Our storm.
If you can make up sort of a mini pilot of a couple of minutes of footage, edit it really good, get it out there in the open, and crowdfund it. Do it yourself. Because basically, it is possible to make money. There are people out there. You may say to yourself, well, I don't have the resources to sell it in a movie theater. Da, 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 da. Look on YouTube. There are a lot of creators out there who have made money. Not millions of tens of millions of dollars, but they've made money enough to keep them sustained to make more projects. They were able to allocate theater space. There are drive-ins begging for product out there. Drive-ins are on the way back. There are small theaters throughout the country, throughout the United States, including New York City. New York City is one of the meccas of the art house theater. You spend a little, and you'll get people knocking on your door. There are guys who have done this, and it has worked. If you look carefully, you will find them. They will tell you what to do. Because those resources are there. They are completely there. And for you to crowdfund it, and let me tell you, some of the stuff out there, like for example, editing. If you're good at editing, there's free software out there. There is a lot of great free software out there. I'm not talking about the real cheap stuff. We work on DaVinci Resolve, and you may have heard this before. We work on DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve has 2 versions. They have a $300 version, and there's a free version of it. The free version has a lot of the stuff that's the $300 version. It's not stripped down all the way. It has a lot of strength for free. You can make a movie with DaVinci Resolve. It has a full audio studio. It has an After Effects version of it. It has the best color shading software programs, I think, of all of the editors. In fact, I've seen people who work on Adobe, and they move the movie over to DaVinci to just use the shader and then export it back into Adobe. I've seen this happen. It is very simple. there's a couple of things you might need. You need people, you need equipment, stuff that's easy, to do. It can be done. We're seeing people just screaming out that they've lost their IP. I mean, we have the Ditko in the comic book, we have the Ditko estates. They're still fighting for the rights, Doc Strange and Spider-Man and all that. That's being done right now. That's right now in the courts. There's a couple of other lawsuits that are still pending. In fact, most of it's at Disney. They're piling up on there. There's what was it? Habazon Hotel. They just got sold. Look what happened to them. All the voice actors got fired. Is that going to be the same Habazon Hotel you saw online? No, it is not going to be. No, it's not. This is the same thing that happened with a lot of the Cartoon Network projects on there. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Billy and Mandy. You heard those situations. You've heard the stories here. Right here on Man with the Show. We talked about Billy and Mandy. We've talked about Courage the Cowardly Dog. These people have been screwed out of the things they've created. They want it back. A lot of them are fighting to get it back. So when you say, hey, I want to sell it to Hollywood to make millions and millions of dollars. Fuck them. Fuck them. Start out slow. Move your way up. Build yourself up bigger, better, faster, stronger than what the media out here, Hollywood and all these companies are doing to everybody else. Be better than them. And then you'll find out in the end, you're probably going to end up to be very satisfied with your product. Because as an artist, you want everybody to see it. And see it the way that you envisioned it. Remember that.
Long live the fighters!